Hey guys, welcome back. We'll try this again. My video just timed out. That's probably responsible not to be posting hours and hours and hours for people. But anyway, we jump right back. Last week of the season, kind of humorous, but every single home team wins, and that ends up having all the teams fall where we'd expect them to. So obviously a little bit of strategy there, a little bit of predictability, right, on just some blowouts, right, and obviously some teams fighting for their lives and a playoff berth, and some teams, resting players, not worried about standings and things like that. But let's take a quick look at the breakdown. Who's in, who's out. AFC, Ravens take their division, obviously, and the Steelers are, I think, a huge contender. I like Green Bay and the Vikings. I'll tell you, I was flipped over to the ticket because the fan was on a commercial, and my goodness, they were out there just throwing around all kinds of crazy, terrible picks. So that was a weird deal. But anywho, I've got Green Bay Vikings. I think that could go either way. And obviously the Ravens Steelers is obviously pretty darn close as well. I like the Titans to be back. And I'm also surprisingly saying there's no Texans and there's no Colts. Those may be two of my biggest misses in this thing, but that's where I'm at, and that's what that's how I feel about it. We'll see if they can prove me wrong. I didn't take into consideration that Phillip Rivers had his best couple of seasons under Frank Reich with the Chargers. I didn't realize there was a hometown connection there until just recently. So that may have been a huge oversight. Now, I love Phillip Rivers as a person, despise him as a quarterback, mostly just because of his throwing motion. And I think he's washed up. But, we'll see. We'll see. That is yet to be decided. I feel the same way about the Texans, right? They're washed. Just a terrible overturn of that roster, and I don't believe in the defense or the offense, so we'll see. And then, so the fun bandwagon fans would be Terrific Tom and the Bucks, and the New Orleans Saints for sure. I've got...
Who are you talking to?
And Patriots Bills. So that is not the way I expected that to go. I thought the Bills would take that division now with a chink in the armor, but it'd be silly to think that the Pats are just out, even with all the COVID holdouts. That's such a strong team, so it'll really be a fun year to see Bill Belichick work his magic with far less than he usually has to work with. I've got the boys in, Dallas Cowboys in. Optimal record, really, but they don't have a crazy tough schedule. I think it's certainly doable, and I have them losing, 2 or 3 of their big matchups against, really good teams like Ravens, Steelers. I think I had them beat the Niners, but I also, I'm going to say the Eagles are out. Pretty unusual. Doug Peterson is probably one of my favorite coaches, right? Protege of Andy Reid and just a stand-up guy. He is one of those examples of no matter what happens on the roster, he can scheme and play call and design a winning formula with what he's got to put on the field. And I think that there's, you can never count somebody like that out and a team like that out. Pretty impressed with that organization. as a whole in the last few years, really. I don't know about that draft, but we'll see. I like Jalen Ranger, and maybe Carson Wentz just is never going to hold up. You gotta hedge your bets. So we'll see. Chiefs obviously blasting through. Niners blasting through. I had the Seahawks. I think they win out after their early bye, so that's maybe a little ridiculous and biased. But I love me some Dange, and I think that they're stacked, right? Stacked running back group. DK Metcalf is the real deal. Always a surprisingly resilient and effective defense. So we'll see. And my surprise pick coming in is going to be the Raiders making it in. I think 4 years in to the Maylock and Gruden experiment is going to start showing through. I just don't know if they can do it with Carr and Mariota as their choices to run the ship. Very easily, the Chargers could sneak in there, or another team could possibly sneak in. Probably your Titans or your Colts maybe are where that ends up going. But without further ado, let's take a look at these playoffs. Playoffs? Man, I'll tell you what. I went to Subway for the first time in forever, so I'm a little sleepy right now. But thanks a lot for putting that back in my head. Bill Belichick. What a weird set of commercials. It was just as mediocre as I remember. So shout out to Subway and Bill Belichick. Okay, so what do we got? Okay, so they're unpicked. I'm going to pick them. Let's do it. I've got Pittsburgh coming back with a vengeance. Big Ben has sat in Tom Brady's shadow for a decade or two, and that used to be a great rivalry. And I say that Pitt's finally got the firepower, the offensive pieces, and the MVP caliber comeback player of the year type deal from Ben. If not, we're back in trouble, But I like that. I like that to be, New England's still got it, but they aren't going to the Super Bowl this year. And then I like Buffalo. I really do. I liked them 2 years ago, 3 years ago, coming on. Love the coach, love the defense, love the offensive line, and then love the pieces they put around them up there. I can't wait to see John Brown, ultimately underrated, Cole Beasley, ultimately underrated, and Stephon Diggs, superstar underrated, can we say, up on the Vikings? I don't know. After that play, nobody forgets him, but, I think his skills are maybe a little bit underrated. He's certainly cocky enough to be a number one wide receiver, so let's see. But I like that. And you know how much I like the Titans. So if Buffalo is going to beat them, that's a statement. But I think that's a real deal thing. And then Baltimore's going to beat Vegas or whoever else is sitting there, in my opinion. So, I think we all know what a stacked team that is, what an unbelievable coach, unbelievable staff, unbelievable, front office. They draft better than everyone every year. Hashtag shout out to Ozzie Newsome and what he did for the Baltimore Ravens over the years and what he passed on to his proteges and future successes there. That's always a great story. You should check it out. Love the history of the Ravens up there and love Harbaugh and Jackson and Ingram. It's the real deal for sure. NFC. Great battle of the Great White North. Hopefully they're playing in Green Bay instead of Minnesota, so you get the snow and the Lambeau. But I'll take Green Bay anyway. Either way where it ends up. If it ends up flipped, it doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers, the defense is stacked. Do they even need wide receivers? I don't know. I guess they don't think so. But I feel like they could use a couple. Anyway, I got Devontae Adams and one of my drafts, so he better ham to the max. This is good. Seahawks, right? Late push, always there, always contention. But the brand new TB12, terrific Tom, Tampa Bay. It's a fun story, and I'm not quitting yet. I mean, I think it's just as ridiculously stacked as it looks. So Bruce Arians, I don't know if I'd play for him, but he's a heck of a coach and guy, and I think he's going to get some result out of that. The understated thing there is everybody's talking about this crazy offense. Their defense is really sick as well. So they're kind of growing into their own, and those pieces are going to start really shining on the defensive side. And this one is my upset of wild card weekend. New Orleans tops the defending NFC champs, and San Fran's going home. Sorry, Kittle. I just don't see it. I know they're super stacked, but are they super stacked? We're going to have to see that. I think they'll be a great team, but we're talking, playoff caliber, championship caliber type stuff. And I think the New Orleans Saints have had it for 5 years and have gotten some of the nastiest calls and bad luck and bad juju. Just atrocities. I hate a game decided by refs. P.S. Des caught it, but they just can't catch a break. And I think it's got to come full circle at some point. And then you see the Chiefs and the Cowboys on the bye. So here we go. Ready and waiting. Pitt and Baltimore, awesome. Third time of the season. Inter-division rivalry. Young, bull, old, buck. Really good stuff. Defense, weapons. Dynamic, explosive, flexible run game both ways. I'm going to edge it to the Baltimore Ravens, younger, with some key veteran pieces, and I'm going to say Pitt's number one defense could be pretty banged up for the second roller coaster ride of awesomeness, back-to-back years. So we'll see. But I like Baltimore at home. That could easily be flip-flopped, like I said. And, no fans and stuff. I guess that's not as big of a deal. But, man, can you imagine flipping it and having to play in Pittsburgh in that game? That would be unreal. Those are both crazy stadiums and fan bases. Really good stuff. And then KC and Buffalo. Unfortunately, this is where the Cinderella story ends. I will take Kansas City Chiefs 10 out of 10 times against Buffalo, but that could be a game, right? If Buffalo's really matured and come into form, again, a great coach that puts his people in great positions to win, regardless, dominating lines and some really key superstars on both sides of the ball. I could see that being really, really something as well. And then let's jump down, and I'm taking Tampa Bay over Green Bay all the way. I just think it's a complete team, and it'd be really fun. That's another one, right? Old coach against young coach. That's one of the more intriguing pieces of the playoffs again. But I'll say, right, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, man, that's a tough one to say anything about, but I will. I say Green Bay gets a little waxed, a lot like they did against the Niners last season. I'll just say it. And this one, right, tough call again. Huge Saints fan, huge supporter of the organization, and the guys down there, just an unbelievable roster. It's unreal. They didn't even have to draft this year, and they're so stacked, it's not even funny. But that I think Dallas is in a new era. They have the players, and they have the staff, and they have the situation to really thrive. And That one will be killer, right? We'll see which defense could get a stop, right? Which offense is really going to roll out, pull all the not pull any punches and just lay it all out there. So we'll see. Coming off a bye, they better come out hot, right? That's no joke. And I believe they play each other a little earlier in the season. Is that right? I believe so. So you've got a little, you've got the pregame, right? The personal vendetta, one way or the other. Just really good stuff. This is one of the craziest seasons of football. It all falls for all the really good teams and the teams that are right there. Just fantastic. So just should be some really great football all around. And I mean, honestly, what wouldn't you like to see at this point? Baltimore, I guess my favorites would probably be, I would love to have Pittsburgh end up in the Super Bowl against Dallas. That would be a classic bout of franchises, right? Renew some old blood there. Great winning franchises back in the big show against each other. That would be like Super Bowl 30. Is it 30? The Cowboys' third Super Bowl in the 90s, and then the 70s, right? So it'd be a chance for the Cowboys to kind of even up on rings and pedigree and franchise status, if you will. And obviously, same goes for Buffalo. How fun would it be for Buffalo to sneak a couple wins in the playoffs and you get Cowboys, Bills again? Those are a couple of the greatest, blowouts. But, they were the ultimate needle or thorn in Buffalo's side for those many years. So that would be a lot of fun as well. Okay, and there can be only one. I've got an insane matchup here. We got number 1, number 2, Baltimore and Kansas City. It's the Chiefs for sure. Lamar and company go home empty-handed again. Failed to reach the top of the mountain. You hate it, but it is a bit of that dark horse stuff, right? I mean, I am not betting against the Chiefs. How could you? They didn't change anything. They're the same team that just wrecked all across the country all season in the playoffs, did the most unbelievable things that I've ever really seen on a run. There's nobody that's ever been down every game, 20 points, and come back and just laid it all out there and got it done. A lot of that's players, a lot of that's good old Andy Reid, but I say Chiefs until I'm shown otherwise. So all the way. Same deal. 1st and 3rd seed very easily could be the 2nd seed, depending on schedule and how some things fall right for Tampa Bay, if it all comes together quickly. But again, we get 2 high-flying, high-powered offenses and 2 good, solid defenses. But I'm giving it to McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe a little biased, but I'll tell you, the Bucks were my favorite team as a kid when I wasn't rooting for the Cowboys, like the Gruden era, with Warren Sapp and Lynch and, just so many great characters to that team. Johnson, dynamic receiving threat, some great backs, just a lot of fun there. So I wouldn't be unhappy either way. And obviously you have some fun stuff here, right? You have Baltimore bouncing back from an early exit, surprisingly in the playoffs last year. So that would be the comeback story. You got the Chiefs trying to go back to back, insane, and very likely, in my opinion. And you've got Tampa Bay. You've never had a football team play the Super Bowl in their own stadium, and that would be what would go down if we go this way. Now, on the other side of that, if my ravenous rat-like research suits me, my understanding is that there have been multiple coaches, 6, 7, 8, something like that, coaches that have coached two different teams to the Super Bowl and even have won with one or the other team. But I don't believe that there is any coach that has won the Super Bowl with two different franchises and organizations. So that is the name of the game from McCarthy, right? That puts him at the top of the record books, at the head of the table in regards to some neat stats there. You might want to double check that. I've been known to fib a bit before, unintentionally, usually on some fan favorites and especially the Cowboys. But my understanding is that would be unprecedented, and I think it's very realistic. Is the crazy thing about it. So, without further ado, we go to Super Bowl LV. That's it, boys and girls. Super Bowl, Kansas City Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys, two family favorites of mine. My family's from Kansas, and I'm born and raised in Dallas, Texas. So here we go. I mean, if Dallas is all the way here, then the defense has stuck and is messing with people, and obviously no injuries to speak of, right? That obviously ends up being the biggest X factor in all of this. But I'll tell you, just the way Mike McCarthy is switching up even practice days, right? So that the players don't come in sleepy and lazy in the beginning of games. Stuff like that is potentially going to make all the difference in the world. I'll tell you, I'm most concerned about the cornerback position, right? The safety position, so your DBs and your secondary really concerns me. I think that it's one of the, obviously from Ramsey and some of these other contracts, is now one of the most highest paid positions outside of a quarterback, and we don't have any resources out there. I mean, Trevon Diggs, my man, I wanted to pick him first round of the draft. Don't get me wrong, I believe, but it's a lot to ask that young man to carry the entire weight of a position group in his rookie year. But it's been done before, and I very well may be pleasantly surprised with that. And we'll see, right? Is the defensive line possibly one of the most loaded in the NFL, and the linebacking group also, top 5, top 8 type of a group, couple of guys, that may make enough difference to put that secondary in a respectable situation every week. I think one of the most interesting things when I talk about my concerns at defense and special teams, right? It bothers me that there's just not enough resources put towards the third phase of the game, right? And obviously that is being changed with one of my favorite guys, Bones Fazel, from the Rams and a couple other organizations where he's really grown and learned quite a lot through the years. He's been around a while, and I just don't like that they are still considering Tony Pollard, a borderline starting running back, as your return choice, or CeeDee Lamb, potentially your stand-in wide receiver at the beginning of the season with Amari hurt, is a perfect example of how the dominoes fall in all the wrong ways sometimes. I wouldn't have CD Lamb back there returning punts and kicks. I just find it inappropriate. I want him to be an excellent receiver week in and week out, fresh and focused and able to destroy that area of the game. If you can't make one roster spot for the fastest SOB you can find in the league, in the country, he just needs to be really fast and have big enough hands to hold on to the dang football when he's getting rocked. And I say you take a flyer on somebody with that skill set, right? It really bothers me, and it always has. It's fun. Des Bryant comes out as a rookie, returns a kick for a touchdown. Well, that's great. And what if he also breaks his femur, or his leg in the returns, right? Then you're double screwed. So it just really bothers me. Let me know how you feel about it. If it's an extra position, I mean, you have specific cornerbacks, linebackers, tight ends, all specifically designated, inside the organization as specialists for the special teams. It is a special aspect of the game. And I say all that to say, if you haven't seen Dak's new place, it is something else. There's an interview on YouTube. You could probably catch it on Twitter, or I know it's on YouTube, but basically it has some great shots of his new field in the backyard. They're riding ATVs, fishing. It just shows what a stand-up guy he is. You can tell in just the way he interacts with the interviewer and stuff, and people in general. But just a great guy. Great guy, deserves everything coming to him, and I couldn't be happier to have him as the face of the franchise. But his field in the backyard just goes from the 50-yard line to the end zone, and that is not what the Cowboys dealt with last year, okay? They literally started from their own 5, 10, 15, 20, all season long. I mean, no wonder they had the number one offense. It took them 85 yards, 90 yards to get points every single drive. So I think it'll be really interesting, and maybe something people aren't connecting the dots on. But, right, you have Kellen Moore bringing in a number one offense, number two passing yards for this season, top 10 in scoring. You have to double check that one. But, certainly top half of the heap, right? And so the idea is you have McCarthy, a seasoned, experienced, champion caliber head coach, to put the team in positions to score faster and more often with less work, right? If, you get every single punt or kickoff or turnover and you're starting at the 25-yard line or the 35-yard line instead, that changes things drastically. Just the mindset and the momentum and the entire, construct of the game, if you could shift it 10, 15 yards towards the opponent's end of the field, that's a game changer. That changes everything. So I expect a more aggressive offense, less field goals. Sorry if you took Zerline in fantasy, but I also expect a much more aggressive defense and a much more polished and respectable special teams. And I think that makes all the difference. And I'll say that to say that if Dallas can come together in those areas, they very well could end up being Super Bowl champions. My favorite thing, and I'm not going to rant anymore about the Cowboys. Obviously, this is a Cowboys fan, and I expect this to be the outcome. But I'd be very interested to see what McCarthy and Nolan are doing on the defensive side of the ball. Just like special teams, right? You're redesigning ground up, and I want to see the creativity and the scheming and the game planning against their specific opponent. And I think that'll be a real wild shift from kind of the philosophy of years past. Do you go in versus the Chiefs and say, beat me with Travis Kelce against our linebackers and nickel or, hybrid safety down there? Beat me here, right? Take away everything else and leave that as the option, right? Or you beat me with Tyreek Hill over the top, and don't throw any picks, and that's it, right? Or can you take away Hill and Kelce and you make Hardman or Watkins, right? Or make their rookie running back grind him down, right? Does he have anything left at the end of his first NFL real deal season, right? I think you'll see a lot more unique and individual scheming and practices in the defense, and I just can't wait. It could be so much fun. It'll either be a terrible rough start getting acclimated to a super creative and wild type of a system, or it could be one of the neatest things we've seen in Dallas in basically a decade. So really excited to see a more evolved form of defense. And maybe offense for that matter. We'll just kind of have to see. It's still football, and you still line up, 11 guys and 11 guys. So you could overcomplicate it, but they've got a pretty stacked roster. And I think if you play to your strengths any given Sunday, right? One of my favorite things is just hearing the crazy Mike McCarthy presenting analytic models to the players about progression through a season and, the highs and lows and balancing those out and consistency. Anybody that's showing data and analytic models to their players is right where we need to be. I respect the hell out of that. You look at the young guys, right? Like Shanahan, LaFleur, Kingsbury, and you look at even like Harbaugh, right? Really embracing analytics and that data, right? I think it just helps you be a better manager and coach, to know when to hold them and when to fold them and when to, let your players get out there and make a play, or, when it's time to, live to fight another day type of a deal. And I think we're going to find, how about that season? Mike Tomlin, I think, went for 2 like the entire season. And it was amazing, right? Sometimes you have to evolve, right, and buck the trends. And it isn't always maybe best for the fans or best for the game necessarily. But at the end of the day, it's just about winning. And that's my favorite thing, is that's the only thing I ever hear from Mike McCarthy. I hear in an interview, Mike McCarthy's talking about Super Bowl, period. We're here to win. And I hear Jason Garrett doesn't have any advice for Judge about being a head coach. And I think that that's probably very factual. He probably has absolutely no advice to give a head coach. That's probably a little harsh, but all in good fun. That could be a really good team with him as a coordinator. I'm not going to lie. And honestly, Washington Redskins, if they weren't hurting so bad in a couple places, they've got a really good thing going there to back Ron Rivera. All the best to him and his family. And that's it, guys. Dallas Cowboy wins the Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs can't go back-to-back against the most famous, maybe, back-to-back team in football. Close to it, anyway. Maybe top 3. But that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give me some feedback. Let me know. Here's the bracket. I love a bracket. Go Cowboys all the way, baby. And hope you guys had some fun with this. Use playoffpredictors.com. See what you come up with. And tell me what it looks like. Let me know if there's something else you want to see. I'm probably going to do – I got like 3 drafts for fantasy. So I'll probably do maybe one of those, or maybe put them all together in a little compilation just for fun, right? They're all different positions. I think I had like first pick, 4th pick, and maybe a little later as well. But really fun the way all those fell, right? I don't like to just take the same players over and over, right? So you kind of spice it up, and I always pick players that I like a little bit, and teams that I think will do well, right? Teams I want to watch. And typically, if a team is probably going to be more successful, you're going to be getting more productivity out of those players, right? Like who's the quarterback throwing the ball to the wide receiver, right? Who's the team that's going to be hammering and scoring a lot of points and grinding that run game at the beginning, or the more likely the end of the game, right? If you're doing it right. So just fun stuff like that. We'll talk about that a little bit, and we'll see how the season goes. But tonight, Kansas City Texans. I could be showing up right here, right? Are the Texans the real deal? I doubt it. Go Chiefs, and we'll see you Sunday. You guys hit me up if you want to, at DevinBoyle777 on Twitter. And obviously feel free to leave comments, suggestions, info here. I'd love to hear from it. Love to see what you guys are up to and what y'all's thoughts are. See if we're on the same page. Shout out to the fan, 105.3, and shout out to Subway. And that's it, y'all. Be safe out there. Stay healthy. And welcome back, NFL. Let's go.